MVP 3.
Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the Gundam AGE-1 Razor and Gundam AGE-2 Artemis set from Gundam AGE. Well, I'm not actually looking at the entire set because it's Mecha vs. Backlog Mountain 3, which means I can only look at one today and I'll look at one tomorrow because, well, one review per day. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Gundam AGE-1 Razor. Anyway, as usual when it comes to a kit like this in a monochromatic box, that means it is a premium Bandai exclusive. So I got this through BUYEE. You can too, link in the description. So now jumping into the aesthetics, and that right there is what the Gundam AGE-1 Razor looks like snapped together just as the out-of-box build using what is included inside of the box. Now I'm going to step back a little bit and mention the build a little. First off, a small thing but I do think it's worth mentioning, the AGE-1 Razor and the AGE-2 Artemis in here are not packed separately, they're actually in the same bags as in the plastic for both is separated through bags. So if you are planning on splitting this box with a sibling or a friend or something like that, there will need to be an opening up and sharing out of parts. No big deal really. As for the big deal though, holy hell! These are the worst stickers I have ever seen. This is full stop now. And mainly the ones on the razors on the arms of the Razor. Oof! These are tough. Buy some metallic green paint. You have to. You have to. Anyway, back to those aesthetics. So now moving into the full 360-degree spin, and there's the Gundam AGE-1 Razor, and I'm going to throw up the original art of this particular mobile suit as well for your own consideration. Now first off, I will mention that the head and the torso here is well, relatively unchanged from the actual original Gundam AGE-1 Normal, which was an absolutely fantastic kit back in 2011 and still is to this day. Now the rest of this kit, which is the arms, the waist unit and the legs, these were all new for the AGE-1 Razor, and yes, that is past tense because these came out in 2012 as part of a magazine campaign in Japan. So you actually got the parts in the magazine for attaching onto a standard Gundam AGE-1 Normal, and then you've got yourself the Razor, which was a variant of the Gundam AGE-1 Normal from Gundam AGE Unknown Soldiers. Now these are definitely not of the same awesome quality as the body itself. For one, these are very not color accurate. It's just white and blue is all you get for the additional parts in this kit. So that does mean you're missing any of the green segments of the legs, those blade segments up front, which would have looked a lot better in actual green plastic or even better clear green plastic. And we do have some other elements as well that aren't color accurate. On the front skirting and the rear skirting, we've got some very large blue stickers. You can actually see that these do not go all the way around. If you flip up the rear skirting or the front skirting, you can see that there's a lot of hollow parts. This is some very basic stuff. On top of that, then there is some other elements that are not color accurate. We'll get to the actual razors from the arm a little bit later on, which have a lot of color inaccuracies. But on the legs here, this knee segment was meant to be in a gray, like you can see here on the art for this particular kit. So on the whole, I guess the best way to put it is the silhouette and the general parts are there. They may not be as geometric as you'd want this kit to be. There is some rounded out parts, but that's not unusual on a high grade kit. But when it comes to the colors, they're not here. The silhouette, the structure, everything is here, but you're going to have to put in some of your own effort on top of it to get this looking perfect. So yeah, I guess the best way to sum up the aesthetics on this is the actual AGE-1 Normal parts look phenomenal. Like the vents in the chest there, they're so perfectly sculpted. The absolutely fantastic gaze of the AGE-1 Normal looking amazing. There are stickers for the eyes, the chest, and the head, but these really don't look that obvious, and I love the boosters round back with that cool spoiler Gundam AGE awesome aesthetic. But the Razor parts on here just are not the greatest. They're okay, they're passable, but they're not perfect. Now, I would have said that's okay when it was included in a magazine, but this is a premium Bandai version. All they did was just repackage everything into a box, which is great if you want to collect something that came out before, but it would have been nice to see them put a little bit more effort into the green Razor parts that make this kit the AGE-1 Razor. So now jumping into the accessories, and once again this is just half of what comes inside of this box, and these are the particular parts we can use with the AGE-1 Razor. That is the pair of Razor weapons as well as one alternate hand. However, we'll mention on the AGE-1 runners we do have the shield left over, the full Dodds rifle, we do not have a sticker for the lens however, and we do have beam sabers included as well. And on top of all of this, which is pretty cool to have extra left over, we have all the parts that would have made up the arms and legs of the standard AGE-1 Normal. Now I will mention, you do not have any of the joints left over because they would have been actually used on the actual Razor parts, but we have the bottoms of the feet, And we've got a whole bunch of the armor as well. So these can be used for customs, just for some extra plastic or any of that sort of stuff. So it's always nice to get a little bit left over, or a lot of it left over on the runners. So when it comes to the hands, for the most part, we've got these standard style fists that, well, most high-grade kits would come with. We do have one alternate hand, which is a widespread open hand. To swap these, it's the usual routine. Pop off the hand, it is a ball joint attachment. And there is the alternate one, which is a widespread one. Always a very nice addition to have included to a box, and that is what it looks like. Nice sculpt. Alright, so before we actually take a look at the razor blades, this is what they are meant to look like. That right there, that's what they're meant to look like. So we've got some gray, we've got some blue, and we've got the green blade. Alright, looking at that? Got that committed to memory? This is what we get, all in white besides one of the most awful stickers I've ever had to commit to plastic. This was so hard to put on, I screwed it up in so many different ways. Definitely the most difficult sticker I've ever had to add onto some plastic. So this is just in white, so super non-color accurate. So you're definitely going to have to bust your paints out for this one right here. Now again, I can't really hold this against the kit too much. This is kind of like a compilation album of kits right here. So the Artemis and the Razor would have been parts sold separately that came included with a magazine, which is a kind of cool concept. And then you just put them together, you're expected to paint them yourself, and then actually attach them onto an AGE-1 and then an AGE-2 for the Artemis set. So I kind of understand, if you consider where this is coming from, it is not the worst. Would have been cool if Bandai actually did make a proper AGE-1 Razor and AGE-2 Artemis, and I know there is a Dragon Momoko one out there that has clear parts as far as I know, so Bandai could have definitely done better here. But I guess if you try to consider this, like I mentioned, a kind of compilation album of two kits that came out in the past with two expansions that would have only came out in a magazine. An opportunity to get something that came out before that would have been impossible to get right now. But honestly though, they're kinda shit. But yeah, they'd be absolutely fine as long as you're willing to paint. So as for what can be done with these, they can be attached to the rear of the arms like we've seen so far, or you can pop them off like this, and then they can be popped into the hands, simple like that, just slide on in, to be used directly in the hands like this, like a pair of swords I guess, or hand-mounted melee weapons. Lastly then you can just pop off one like so, bring it round to the back of the other one, they can clip together then at this point like so, for this absolutely super large glaive. I will mention that this can look a little bit on the odd side. This is held what, well, I can only describe as fairly high up the length of the actual weapon. So this is actually where it's meant to be held, just in case you were curious. So now jumping into the articulation and popping this into the pose I usually do to test the articulation. All I can say is this is impressive considering how old this is and the fact that this is an amalgamation of two parts. Sure, the legs and the arms and the waist are pretty much like retrofit parts from a magazine, but they do not lack any of the awesome articulation we would have seen with the AGE-1 normal, mainly because all the previous joints are here. If there is any limitations, it would be in the ab crunch zone. There isn't really much movement in the torso whatsoever, and a little bit at the ankles, but you can't complain too much about those because this is a kit that deserves to be in the air. It's got such an aerodynamic, bladed, speedy look to it that this should be flitting around in the air like some kind of blade acrobat, and that's where this looks the best. The weapons up on the arms when they're forearm mounted look incredible. The way they move back towards the rear of the Gundam with their long bladed design just looks like a pair of arm mounted wings. It looks so damn nice. Sure, the color separation is not the greatest, but this kit makes up for it in every other way. That's why to me, this is still getting silver tier, what I would expect from a high grade Gundam, even though it does have very bad color separation issues, especially on the new parts. But if you're willing to paint all of that, that does not matter whatsoever. This has everything it needs where it needs it, besides the color. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video and every video would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos. And special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and on the channel members, including Caleb Engelhart, Global Frequency Studios, Go Little Rockstar, Gunpla UK Limited, Joe, Kill Me Inc., Lauren Seach, RG59061, and Van Fawn.